Come join us on the starship Earth and reconnect with the science of the land and stars. From the depth of the oceans to the top of the cedars and beyond the galaxy. Portals and ceremonies, gravitational waves, caribou, highways, laughter as medicine, quantum entanglement, glacier, sovereignty, hunting, mathematics, berries, fire, crocus teachings, star people and Pleiades, grandmother, moon. Tellings from Stones to Stars on the Ancestral Science Podcast, a place to learn the sciences of the 7 directions.
Well, welcome back to the Ancestral Science Podcast. My name is Kori. I will be your host and guide on this journey where we together learn more about the depth of science from stones to stars, or as we like to call it here, the OG science. Well, we recorded this episode in the midst of a chinook and a cold front on an early winter afternoon here in the lands of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Tsuut'ina Nation, Îethka Nakoda First Nation, and more recently, the Otipemisiwak Métis. And, the Ancestral Science Podcast thought, during these interesting times we were living in, we thought we need some laughter. So we brought in the aunties. We reconnected with Melissa Roberts and Emily KERTON, both Indigenous educators weaving knowledges and land-based science into the Ontario curriculum. So in this first part, we discussed the difference between outdoor experiential knowledge, land-based knowledge, and Indigenous knowledges, the reverence of silence and slowing down, the protocols of Indigenous knowledges within education, the ridiculous rigor of Indigenous science through oral stories, and not needing the validation of global science to tell us about the health benefits of smudging, because we've known that for thousands of years, right? With such a great and hilarious conversation, this episode had to become a 2-parter, which is awesome. So stay tuned next week for episode 2, where we will add some great educational resources to the show notes. And okay, here's a teaser. You got to stay until the end of episode 2 for an absolute treat in the form of a trifecta of poop stories. Yes, I said that correctly. Poop stories. It will surely induce some facial and stomach laughter cramps. So get ready for that, and definitely you got to stay tuned. As always, thanks to Email Starlight for the seamless editing, videography, and audio, as well as Walter Whitebear, Sharon Foster, and Email for that amazing, epic opening tune. As always, take a moment to like, share, follow, and rate. All of that is much appreciated. And if you want to support in a different way and help the pod in however you can check out some unique Indigenous science merch at Relational Science Circle, alloneword.com/shop. And, in these difficult times, and it's important to remember that we are all interconnected, and we learned that as well in this episode. Send all of your prayers and your positive energy to Minnesota as they're going through some difficult times there. So, anything we can do to help, let's send those prayers and energy that way. As we know from experience, laughter is medicine. And this episode definitely helps with that. So maybe grab a no-spill sippy cup with some tea or coffee, light a smudge if you can, and learn from and laugh alongside the aunties, Melissa Roberts and Emily KERTON.
Back to my home.
I dare not go.
For if I do,
my mama would say.
Is this copyrighted?
Oh, it might be.
Okay. Skip that.
I feel like that's
not our version.
No.
And this is what happens. Well, welcome to the Ancestral Science Podcast, Season 3. We are grateful to be speaking with Melissa Roberts and Emily KERTON. But and we are all coordinated. we're all coordinated in red. If you're watching on YouTube, if I can figure out how to get it on there, it's it happens. but first, protocols, focus. I have some tobacco here to offer for both of your time, wisdom, and sharing this space here today. Will you accept this tobacco?
Thank you.
Hi. And of course, some protocols for listeners. As always, please remember that the knowledge shared here, it's not mine. It's not Ancestral Science Podcast, but it is connected and always is with the Knowledge Keeper and the lands they're from. So if you want to share any of this amazing knowledge, I ask you to please remember these protocols and to continue to connect these knowledges with the human and the land that they're connected to. And I think it's also something I wanted to mention. Can we send some positive energy and some prayers to Minnesota, where we're thinking of you. We're sending all the smudge and setting down tobacco. So we're thinking, doing what we can. Hi. So introductions. Who are we? Shall we start with Melissa as the previous podcast guest, the expert here? Check out season 1 for the Auntie Laughing episode. I will link that in the show notes. Melissa, would you want to introduce yourself in your own way?
Bonjour and denawe maganadog nishwa swe Îethka indigo makwa dodem anemki wekuton and donji. Chimikwich kije manado migwich no kamasag miwa mashomasag mino gizigad. But I said there was a traditional Ojibwe protocol greeting. I said hello, all of my relatives. My spirit name is Nishwa Swe Îethka. The name my parents gave me when I was born is Melissa. I'm a member of the Bear Clan, which means we are protectors of the community and carriers of medicine, among a few other things, I think. I was born and raised and have lived my whole life in Thunder Bay, the traditional lands of Fort William First Nation 52, in the shadow of Anemki Waju, or Thunderbird Nest Mountain. I thank the Creator and the grandmothers and grandfathers, for bringing us together today to share laughs and love and kindness. And I said it's a beautiful day, because it's always a beautiful day when we can get together.
Thank you.
Your turn.
Okay. Bonjour, Emily KERTON, Indigenous Cause. My name is Emily KERTON, and I am a Métis and Anishinaabe and Scottish and Irish person. And I am slowly working on reconnecting with my Indigenous heritage, which is really connected to the waters. So on my dad's side of the family, his family was born and raised in a community that didn't have a road into it. And so for anyone to leave the community, they had to leave by water, which meant they were connected to the fur trade. So my family traveled all over the Great Lakes in Ontario, what is now called Ontario. And so my family is scattered across the Great Lakes, mostly settled in sort of southern areas. And then a group of them came up to Thunder Bay. And that's where I have also lived my whole life. But I'm also connected to the land in other ways, which is from my Scottish and Irish heritage, which is on my mother's side, where my grandpa was a farmer. And he was so incredibly connected to the land and seasonal cycles for his own sustenance. So I'm super honored and thankful to my ancestors for that connection, because I feel it deeply. And I'm thankful to all my friends and family who are helping me reconnect. Miigwech.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so like, oh, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Side by side.
At each other. Woo! People are definitely going to have to watch the video.
Yeah, there you go. That was a beautiful high five between Emily and Melissa. Commentating. Yes, this is more Auntie laughter. We thought we could talk about how did we meet a few years ago, I believe at a conference alongside of a sloth named I want to Juliet. Yes.
So
I wonder how Juliet's doing.
Just say that slowly. Julie.
But before that, Kori, you and I met when we it was ahead of a conference, actually, a virtual conference during COVID, alongside Fred.
Fred, what are you doing?
Fred, what are you up
Fred, reach out. What are you up to?
Fred from Alberta.
Fred from Alberta, who used to work at Tuesday. What are you
Is it a
doing?
guy or a sloth?
It's a human.
Oh,
A
okay.
human man.
Okay.
Human man.
Fred. It's
Not
like
a
Mike
sloth.
from Kenmore.
And then after we presented at that conference, it was during COVID times.
Yep.
And so we connect on video
Mhm.
frequently
Mhm.
to hang out and chat because we needed the support from each other in
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
And then the first time I met you in person was at the conference that Melissa came to in Ottawa.
With
Yeah.
Juliet. And we, yes, and had many laughs in a diner.
Telling many silly stories.
Yes, many silly stories. And
And that's what Emily, I think, said to us, you two will be friends.
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm.
it was a direction. I don't think we had a choice.
You never do. This is something many people know about me, that I am very forceful about connecting people.
All right.
Mhm.
So, and I also am very just forceful myself. Like I'll be like, hello, I would like to be your friend. Can we be friends, please? Which is what I feel like I did with you, Kori. And then I just bring other people into the circle.
I love it. It worked out. We're good. and then you both came out here, and my dog really likes Melissa. Really,
Really like.
Don't be hating. Where's the love, y'all? Your puppy has it for me.
it is very true.
So cute.
Wincy has a
Winston.
mohawk now.
Oh my.
I know. He's so
represent-
cool. You know, we're trying to be cool. Trying to be cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Gotta bring that mohawk way over here to Ontario where we are.
That is true. See, maybe I do have to pack him for the next gathering. Maybe I could actually do that because then I can bring you all the merch.
You could.
Anyway, so we are cool.
We're all trying to be like professional-ish here because you're recording now. You'd heard us before. We were out of control.
I mean, I guess you could cut things, say anything inappropriate.
But she
right?
doesn't.
So, oh,
that's
I won't.
Well.
No.
Okay.
This is real. This is
Not as
real
a
life.
test.
There's no editing in real life. Be yourselves. That's who we are. We're good.
Yeah.
Cool. So you both are doing some cool stuff lately. Hence also, I mean, I just wanted to have you on the pod anyway, so we could hang out and chat. Really is my ulterior motive. But would love to share the amazing stuff that you both are doing. Do you want to share kind of generally what you're doing? And then I thought maybe we could start with some language because language is super important. And I think we'll set up a cool conversation from that.
No, I went first last time.
Okay, I'll go first. Okay. Okay, so I have changed jobs this year. So formerly working at a science center, and now I'm working in a new role that our local school board created, which is called the Land-Based Learning Lead. And it's a position to help schools, mostly high school, find Indigenous ways of being and knowing and bringing that into their science and geography classes. And then also our public school board here has an outdoor education center, which has been around for 45 years now. And I worked at it.
Really?
Yes. And it's funded by the public school board, which is amazing. It's I think there's 2 left in Ontario. So it is, we are very, very, very lucky to still have it here. And that was my first career, actually. My first career coming out of university for a full-time career was being an instructor at the Outdoor Education Center. So I worked there for 6 years. And then I moved over to the Science Center, and now I'm back. So part of my job is to be out there and to help the staff out there bring in Indigenous ways of knowing, and community and language and culture, because they have the land. out there.
Mhm.
And now they need the other parts connected to it. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited to be in that role, and I'm already learning so much, and I'm already connecting with so many people, and I already have an amazing like community and network of people that I'm excited to bring into this who haven't done work with the school board before. So that's very exciting. Over to Melissa. What Melissa's
Over
doing.
to Melissa. Just hanging out,
Oh my gosh.
shoveling snow.
Isn't it nice to be retired?
Yeah,
So-
as 5 minutes ago, you're like, I've never worked so much for the school board when not directly working for the school board.
I know. So in 2020, since the last time we spoke, I've retired from high school teaching. And when I retired, I had spent 2 years developing, creating, developing, facilitating a program called Kendaman Jagode Namanon Lodge. The name was given to us by an elder here in the area, Jean Naugizik. And essentially, it's in the old language, the old Ojibwe or Anishinaabe Moin. When I've said that name before to other speakers, they're like, "Whoa, we haven't heard that for a long time," and they have to sort of parse it out. But essentially, it means that the more knowledge we have of the seven grandfather teachings, the more success we'll have in life. So if we choose to live B'Madsawin, or the good life, we walk the red road. We follow the teachings and the ceremonies and all of the lessons and guidance that come from the seven grandfathers or the seven sacred teachings. Then we will just be that much better off in life and things that we do and the people we meet. So I retired from that, and then I'm like, oh, what am I going to do now? And I was expecting all these phone calls to start coming in.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I had about 6 months where I could just relax and ponder life, and because after 31 years of being on a school schedule, I was pretty tired. So COVID hit, and I'm like, yeah, that's it, I'm done. So after that 6 months, it was like, oh, there's so many requests to do things. So I am still active with Science North here in Thunder Bay as the chair of the Northwest Indigenous Advisory Committee. What else do I do with them? Oh, I'm part of the she's raising her eyebrows. I keep making up this title that gets longer and longer every time. She goes, oh,
I love it.
Now.
It's a surprise.
Oh,
I'm waiting.
is there an acronym? Do I have to write this down?
No. I don't know Indigenous Advisor?
Yeah.
And Community Liaison.
And Community Liaison.
And
that's all.
Resident dad joke teller?
Yes, well, absolutely. And swivel stool aficionado.
Oh, yeah. Swivel logs.
Yeah. So that part, a couple of years ago now, I think it was, I worked extensively with a bunch of people from Science North and the architectural team to help contribute ideas to the new build that's going to happen here for a science center in Thunder Bay sometime, when all the funding gets lined up and things like that. What else? I work every Tuesday at Confederation College here in Thunder Bay as a supporting elder and knowledge keeper. So I get to hang out and with a bunch of, and I just call everybody kids there because I think they're all so much younger than me. I found out yesterday one of these kids is like 52. And I'm like, oh my God, you're as I am. Here, elder, can I ask you a question? I'm like, out of here, Anyway. And what else? I also sit as an elder with Lakehead Public Schools Mini Waywinin Committee, which is an Indigenous Advisory Committee. I'm part of Mulaney Goodchild's Nagani, what's the second word? Minigozawin, yeah. And so through that, we're looking at providing opportunities to build chances for people to learn how to incorporate and work with Indigenous people. Is that about it?
Yeah, that's it. Build capacity within science center structures that are very institutional and decolonize our in them.
Yeah, and you're doing that too.
I'm doing that too.
You're doing that too.
Even though I'm kind of switched over to another job, there are parts that I'm still keeping.
And also
draw it back in.
Oh, draw back in. You never really leave.
You don't really leave. Yeah.
And as part of a conversation that we had with when we were in Sweat Lodge out there with you guys, when we came out, we were talking, some of the elders are saying that we really need to start working across Turtle Island, as Indigenous people, especially in this time of the world, because I guess there's strength in numbers, right? We have great power, we have great knowledge, and we really need to stop being centralized, because we have the tools and opportunities now to allow us to be able to interact and share across time zones like we're doing now, right? So we talked about this with Mulaney, and there's some things that are starting to be put in place. So we're going to create an elders circle that will help oversee or work with different science centers across Turtle Island. And I don't know exactly what that will look like, but I think it's super exciting. And to think the importance of it all came from a ceremony that like we participated in, not even in our home territories, right? So yeah. And I'm a grandmother of 2.
Yay! Well, we talked about that before. Yay! Exciting. Exciting.
Yes, exciting. So
yeah.
And
So
I'm a
as,
mama.
you are, and I'm a fur mama.
I'm a mother and an auntie.
The auntie, yes.
I'm not a grandmother yet. Let's give it time,
Yeah,
people.
yes.
Kid's only 12.
Yeah, give it a little time.
But
You'll get there if they
You
want.
guys can borrow my granddaughter. So cute.
oh, I would love to. My kid is 12 and is wearing men's size 11 shoes.
No.
Oh my God.
So for listeners who aren't watching this video, Melissa's reaction was the appropriate reaction, which was like jaw to the floor. He is going to. Yeah.
He'd be so much taller if his feet weren't so big.
Yeah, there's a lot folded under.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey.
Another high five.
I'm so happy right now. Oh gosh.
Yep.
So
Wicked.
the work that you're both doing, super easy, right? Super easy bringing in Indigenous science and ways, bringing into Indigenous science and ways of knowing into curriculum, into education and whatnot. I think I'm curious your thoughts of different ways of speaking about this work and looking at, you were saying outdoor experiential knowledge, there's land-based knowledge, there's Indigenous knowledge, there's traditional knowledge, traditional ecological knowledge. There's so many different terms. What do you like to use, and what do you think is the main difference between these different terminologies?
No, go ahead.
I actually had a conversation today about this, so it's perfect timing, about this idea that we have outdoor experiential education. And now we have this person, me, who's leading this land-based learning portfolio. And like, what's the difference? Like, why do we have to have these two things? What's the point of that? And so the way that I actually sat with my colleague, Jasmine, who is the most amazing, beautiful person, who's the Indigenous education resource teacher for the school board. And I sit with her in her team. And so she and I were sitting and we were having this discussion about it. And I said, I think that the biggest difference in outdoor experiential education, you are outside, you are learning about outdoor things, you are on the land, you're experiencing things, you're learning skills. And a lot of it is just rooted in Western ways and focused on recreation, which is really interesting. So there's focus on like learning how to canoe and how to snowshoe and how to ski and how to use a compass and a map. And like, those are all super important skills, but they are kind of more focused on like the recreational aspect of them.
It's like
and
the what?
Yeah, exactly. And there's science embedded within those things. And then when you look at a land-based approach, it's really rooted in Indigenous knowledge. So it is more of a focus where you bring in language and culture and community to connect with the land. And you're really learning how to survive. So you're following natural cycles that show you how to survive on the land. And so in my mind, that is the differentiation, just like sort of first initial thinking about it.
Yeah, it's like the like the outdoor experiential. It's like the what. It's the, it can be one day. It can be, you're just doing something for a couple hours, or it's,
Yeah.
not that it's not important, but I think it's, something that can be, you're learning something. You're learning the what. But that land-based knowledge, it's, you're in relationship with, it's a constant, relationality that you're building and understanding, and it's specific to that, that knowledge is specific to that land.
Yeah, it's like that you are part of, as opposed to that idea of like taking from.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those practices of outdoor ed, it's like you're taking from, like you might not be taking things, but you're like taking that experience from the land and you're not really engaging with it fully. Whereas with land-based, you are part of.
Yeah, it's a relational
Mm.
orientation to the land, and it's a deeper participation, I think, or a deeper experience than just going out and canoeing. Or, because like if we use that for an example, it's like, well, before I ever go on the water, I have tobacco, right? And so I give thanks for the opportunity to be able to go out on Nibit or the water, and ask for a safe journey while I'm on the water. And I thank all of the relatives because we're all related. I'm my relatives are me. And that includes the ancestors who have traveled those waterways forever before I came along, right? You talked about your family having experience with the water, and so did mine as being part of the fur trade as well, just from a different direction, right? So it's not just about canoe safety. Put on your life jacket, grab a paddle. Here's how you do a J-stroke and go. It's like there's protocols, and it's a ceremony when we're engaging with land-based opportunity, and it's like what we learn from the land, from the water. Um, it are things, it's knowledge that we use to build and support our community. It helps us to express who we are as individuals, and the philosophy that our people have is shared through that. I guess we could use the term transferable skills as well, and things that we can apply to all aspects of our life, right? Like you're out on the water, you're out on the land, you have to be aware of what's going on around you in order to be safe. Like our people always did. You got to watch the changing weather. Um, and like you watch the weather, you see the clues, and then because of our relationship with the land, we learn how to process that information and respond accordingly, right? Whereas, I mean, go for a paddle with the school program or whatever. It's like, okay, everybody, tweet, you got to come back to shore now. Like
you don't need that relationship with the, with the elements, with the water, it's somebody else is dictating that. That's a good point.
Yeah. I mean, like even there was many years ago when I was I took my mom out for a paddle one day at this lake we used to camp at. And it was a foggy day. There was some mist. It was a smaller lake. The water was still as glass. And there was a loon that was fishing. And it was like a Robert Bateman painting. Like we glided. My mom didn't even paddle. Like there was no wind. So we were silent on the water, and we followed this loon from a distance, and it would call and it would, show its wings and clean. It's like we weren't even there. And to this day, my mom still gets pretty emotional when she thinks about that experience. And it was because we were more absorbed into the land and what it was showing and sharing with us. That we experienced that gratitude for that memory. So.
When I was in my early 20s, I guided canoe trips, and it was with 16 and 17-year-old females. And I would take 10 or 12 of them out. So we'd have 6 or 7 boats, 6, 7. And for the young listeners, or 5 or 6 boats, and me and a member in a boat. And so these were pretty epic trips to take. So lots of logistics involved. And I would always, at least once a day, have a moment where I would tell the girls that we just needed to be silent and just paddle silently for a period of time. And they hated it because they loved singing, and and that's all part of it too. Singing is great, paddling. And that comes from the roots of the voyageurs singing songs. And in that silent time, there was always amazing interactions, just like what Melissa said. But my favorite was always otters, like river otters are the type of otters that we have here in Northern Ontario. And they're so curious. And as soon as the girls would go silent, like I feel like 9 times out of 10, there'd be river otters suddenly popping up their little cute heads and making little like sounds and swimming over and looking at us. And like, those are core memories for those girls who were from more like urban areas, like Southern Ontario, who would come up north to be part of this work camp. And so like connecting like that in a way where you're paying attention and you're focusing more on what's happening around you, as opposed to like, we got to like hoof her to the next portage so that we can like get to the campsite, make camp, like it's like forgetting about all of that, shedding all of that, and just tuning in.
Yeah, that silence, or maybe it's a focus that that comes
Because
from
it's
that,
not
right?
silent, right?
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
not silent. The world is so, there's so much going on around you, but you can't hear it over your own chatter. So your own quietness allows all the rest of that to appear. Yeah.
Well, and if our ancestors hadn't been in relationship with the land, if they hadn't been engaged in what we call land-based learning, their collective explorations of the land through generations, if they hadn't done that, where would we be today? Like they cut those paths for us to follow. They built those relationships with the plants and the animals to learn, the medicines that would heal and sustain us, where to, the stories that entertained us during the dark, cold winters when, it sometimes feels very hopeless. They, learned about the ceremonies and the seasonal changes and the food and the way the animals travel. So really, and like how to travel and move around in the world based on those seasons, right? So it's like if they hadn't done that, we wouldn't know snowshoes. We wouldn't have the 13 Moons teachings. We wouldn't have the technology that we have today that has not only sustained our communities, but also non-Indigenous communities that we're still building on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a great point, because the reason why I wanted to talk about the language within how we talk about these different ways of learning, because that's what it is, outdoor, land-based, Indigenous, global Western, science, pedagogy, whatever you want to say, is because this comes up a lot. I'm based in Alberta. There seems to be always a misunderstanding, and especially with the curriculum here, is a misunderstanding between the difference or not difference between Indigenous and land-based science. And I like how I feel like I need another word now, because for me, I think the easiest thing, lots of teachers listen to this, so also why I wanted to mention this, but I think everyone can do land-based learning. Everyone go out, learn from, figure out what moon cycle it is, track the stars, go regularly, begin those relationships and begin those relationships with self and the land. And I think that's, again, for teachers that are, scared to do this work or scared to, to appropriate or be token. And I say, like, that's start with this, start with begin that. It's almost, maybe there's a beginning that of relationship with the land. And then, like you were saying, Melissa, that this is, OG science is land-based science, is how that, the land taught us. And then the land taught people, the OG people, how to live, how to survive. Those stories, that knowledge, that science has been interpreted based on their connections with that specific land into stories and survival stories, and that science that we use today. So I think a good way to differentiate all awesome stuff that everyone is doing, but also thinking about how people can do this. So, a question about: is there Are you're within the Ontario curriculum?
Yes.
Yes. Is there Indigenous science in the curriculum? Yeah. Great answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
How is it?
Yes, like there is a whole document
Yeah.
that it has been created that outlines Indigenous ways of knowing, I would call it, rather than like Indigenous science specifically.
Yeah.
But I would say that it's sort of a generalized document that each school board is given the opportunity to interpret however they want. And there's so many different nations across our province. Like, we have so many different groups that everyone, I think, is given that freedom to figure out how to use that document. But within the school board here, I would say that the focus is fully on, and I'm going to quote Jasmine because I love the way she says this, the beauty and brilliance of Indigenous people. And that is where we need to be. We need to put all of our focus in every aspect of the curriculum is on that beauty and brilliance and the amazing work that Indigenous people are doing today and have done in the past to get us to where we're today. So, long answer to your question. Yes, there is Indigenous science in the curriculum, but it is really very generalized. Well,
I mean, it's good that it's generalized in the sense that it allows for that openness for different school boards and different lands to interpret it in connection to their land. I guess how are you approaching this process of bringing in Indigenous or land-based learning into what you do into the curriculum?
That's such a big question, and
right? It's an easy question. Check mark. You got
exactly. And done. I'm in week 2 of this job, so I am very much still baby steps, and I have a tendency to kind of like have big ideas and move quickly on them, and I'm being reminded by my colleagues to slow down, take your time, and I love that. I appreciate that so much. So I would say that my first instinct in my first week was to connect with community. So I have set up meetings with the people within the school board who are doing this work already. And I'm still working on setting up those meetings because there's a lot of people in our school board who are doing amazing land-based work. So the program that Melissa founded, the KZ Lodge, there's now a KZ Lodge at each high school. There's 3 high schools in the public board. And they have, it's a partnership with the local Indigenous Friendship Center. So they have cultural people and language people coming from there to connect. It's an absolutely beautiful program. And so I'm working on connecting with the teachers for those programs. I've talked to Melissa. I will continue to talk to Melissa. I've connected with the native language teachers, their coordinator, and then now I'm going to work on connecting with the teachers. And because each one of these people brings a community and a knowledge bundle themselves. And so my approach is to find those people and create that community and then move forward that way. And because my job is partly out at this outdoor ed center, I mean, it just gives itself so naturally to bringing people out there and doing amazing things. So big long-term goal is to build a wigwam on the site. That's like long-term. And then I have tons of little short-term goals that I think are quick and easy wins. I hate to use that phrase, but they're things that we can implement right away that already start to enrich the programming with Indigenous language and connection to community.
And we'll invite your friend Kori out to hang out in the wigwam.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we were talking about
100%.
Yes. So it's interesting, and I didn't mention this earlier, but Emily, you were talking about different things that you want to do out at Kingfisher. And a number of years ago, while I was still teaching, we would take, we had an Indigenous student council at 2 of the local public schools. And so we would take them for a weekend retreat out at this Kingfisher Outdoor Ed Center. And one year that we went, we built a sweat lodge. A friend of ours came out and we built a sweat lodge. and the kids had some of them their first time in ceremony for that, and they were just moved beyond words. But we also used it as an opportunity to bring out the non-Indigenous Students Council to this place on the land. And by the end of the weekend, they had created friendships and relationships with each other. And on the Monday back at school, we saw kids saying hi to one another that would have just blown each other off before, right? Or just totally ignored.
That's so cool.
The challenge, I think, in a lot of ways for introducing Indigenous content, well, there's several of them. One is that a lot of teachers are, and I speak as a retired teacher, saying that I have so much to do, I don't have time to learn anything new. And so we've talked about the importance of breaking it down and having doable activities, but also the most important thing is non-Indigenous people don't have to teach Indigenous content. They have to provide the opportunity for their students to learn about it. So nothing about us without us. Bring Indigenous people in. We're building a greater network of knowledge carriers and elders and artists and singers and dancers, like scientists, you name it, we've got it out there. And we can connect with those people.
Yeah.
So that should break down, that barrier. The other important thing is that, and a lot of teachers, like when I go and I talk to teaching candidates at Lakehead University here in Thunder Bay, I tell them, find your passion and go with that. The ministry tells you what you have to teach, but they never tell you how you have to teach it. So if you can combine your passion and your background knowledge, you can bring people in. Like, how much fun would that be? If you love being outside, like you love snowboarding and you love being outside. So, how can you incorporate your love for winter sports and activity? Oh, let's talk about Indigenous sports and, like, how does that tie in? And then the last thing that I kind of wanted to mention was with this Kendaman Jagode Namanan Lodge, KZ Lodge, is that I was able to offer multiple credits because we would start with land, language, culture, and community. That drove everything in the program. And so there was those 4 components with every single credit, with every single activity. And we did those first, like traditional deer hide tanning, snowshoe making, moccasin making, all the storytelling and stuff. And then we connected them to the curriculum document expectations. So instead of having the Western education system lead us, I chose to lead it the other way. So our stuff first, and then the curriculum documents were fit in by an incredible friend of mine, Noelle Jones, who worked tirelessly with a fantastic set of highlighters. We would sit down. It's true. She's got highlighters like nobody's business. But she would have these massive pages of expectations for all the credits that I was able to offer. And we would sit down and I'd say, okay, this is what we did today. So it ties to science because we talked about the way the enzymes interact with the brain soup to keep the fibers from locking tight, all that kind of stuff. And she just highlighted with colors. And that's how we justified the credits. So a lot of people feel like they can only do this. But I say we're circle people. You can't put us in a square box and expect us to thrive, right? So, and how much more fun would it be being outside doing things, right? We have to sort of break that thought.
Yeah.
Get outside, it's fun.
Yeah, I think that I hear it all the time that, I have to bring in Indigenous knowledge like every day into everything. Like, no, I love what you said. Find your passion. What are you interested in? And I'm like, do something, do it well. Then it's not token, then it's not just a check mark, and it's not, just slotting in, it tokenizes it for slotting in Indigenous knowledges into some topic. Yeah, I say, whatever you're doing, there's science in everything. It's easy to put the science in anything. Start with the land, start with community, start with, yeah.
Like I have a community member who we have plans to bring out to the Outdoor Ed Center, which I don't think we said is called the Kingfisher Lake Outdoor Outdoor Education Center.
Mhm.
So if you hear us say Kingfisher, that's what we mean.
Yeah, not Kingfisher Lake way up north.
Wait, no, or like the bird.
Or not the bird.
But I have a plan to bring a community member out who's a language speaker and trapper, and is going to snare rabbits and teach kids how to make snares. And then I've been working on a lesson about the physics of snaring. So it's an easy like tie-in so that the teacher feels like there's a science connection, but they're getting the cultural based programming and with the language nested in there because he's a language speaker. So that kind of way I see working really well out there moving forward. Yeah.
I think a lot of people too feel challenged, and nobody has said this to me directly, but I feel like they don't believe that Indigenous science is valid because it hasn't been proven by science.
And I say that Indigenous science is rigorous and it has been tested over millennia. This is one of the ways of talking about Indigenous science that our good friend Julia Pegmagabo always says, which is this reminder that like academia and science teachers and others love repetition, iteration, proving, like testing, experimenting, the scientific method. And it's like, what is more rigorous than 15,000 years of survival in Northern Ontario and all of these incredible innovations that we've come to today that we are still using today? How is that not proof positive of the rigor of the OG science?
Absolutely. And you think of how, it was written down, and that was passed on through stories, through ceremony, through relationality, and through apprenticeship, and doing this over and over. I was hinting, I'm going to not try to talk about the cool things that are happening because it's going to be, I'm going to get all weird again. But thinking about how these stories in the science, how intricate they are and how much knowledge you need to know, and mistakes you have to make, and that humility that goes into that to understand something, to be in relationship with something, and then pass it on and make sure it's passed on through those protocols. And then think for thousands of years, this is like that is ridiculous. Without, okay, here's a piece of paper, okay, done. That's rigorous. That is ridiculous rigorous. Ooh, ridiculous rigorous. Amazing.
Yeah. Ooh. I think about my dad and how he's always taught me about taking care when walking in the woods, never taking more than what you need. And he always like instilled that in me from when I was a kid. I mean, when we were kids, we went and lived in the bush in like a prospector tent, and I'm pretty sure my mom hated it, which is probably why they ended up getting. Anyway, that's a different kind of podcast. But like, every moment that I had with him, we spent outside. He'd pick me up, we'd go snowshoeing, we'd make a fire in the bush, and we'd make toasted peanut butter and jam sandwiches. The best thing ever. Toasted on a fire. We'd get lost sometimes. And I would feel so comfortable because I was with my dad who knew the way. He taught me how to hunt. And I just got my hunting license and firearm license, and now I'm passing that on to my, right? So that like passing of those skills on, so key and important, and will secure our survival.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I said too, but in more ways than just physically.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think a lot of what we're talking about has to do with allowing ourselves, for some people, maybe it's a suspension of disbelief, right? For me, I have always had faith in something more powerful than what could be explained by science, right? And my faith, not like, I mean, that's involved time going to church on a regular basis. That's involved being an elder in the Presbyterian Church, which is, kind of like a lay minister, I guess. But I've always known that there's something greater than myself that is out there, not just out there, but here around me and supporting me. And it's like that symbiotic relationship that we need to really focus on having with the earth around us as an active participant of because we believe everything has spirit, the earth is a living entity who is working with us, or rather perhaps we're working with her to build, hopefully, a good world. And as we should always think, 7 generations to follow. So that 7 generations coming behind me, because the 7 generations that have gone ahead of me, if they had that mindset, that's why I think we still have a lot of the stories and the ceremonies and the knowledge that we do, because we weren't egocentric. We weren't thinking, oh, we're, and I think that's part of the issue too. I mean, again, as a former teacher, sometimes our egos get in ahead of our hearts, right? Where we should always spend more time thinking with our heart and love and kindness. We get a little egotistical and think, oh, I've got all this knowledge, this information, but is information the same as knowledge, right?
Yeah.
I can read a book and spout those facts all I want to, but what about the stories I can share about, deer in downtown Toronto? Or like seeing a mother moose and her twin calves after I'd just been singing my guts out paddling. And the second I stopped, whoop, there they were, Yeah. So I don't know, I might have derailed us a little bit there.
No,
okay.
Maybe think of, was just hanging out with Rob Cardinal yesterday.
Hey, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
And he was saying something, it was, always something amazing. But one thing I hadn't heard before is that we never truly touch anything in the sense that, if we're all made of particles of which are always in motion, but never touching, never connecting physically. They're connected through energy, connected through frequencies. And so that how we understand the world around us is through those frequencies and how those are, reverberate and how it's not physical. It's not that, global Western science standard method of, I need to see something to believe it or touch it to believe it. And that, that concrete knowledge, or it's, that spirit, that feeling, as you were saying, Melissa, that's, that is a part of science. Like, when will science catch up to, validating that depth of knowledge within those relationships between everything?
We're
still
it's
waiting.
Funny, I always use the example of smudging. And I, when I'm doing circles or whatever, or kids want to smudge, and I said, it's fantastic that science has finally caught up to where we are, where they now say, oh, there's actually some scientific proof about why smudging is beneficial, and why, when people smudge, we feel better after breathing in that burning plant material, right? And it's like, oh, it creates a release of all these healthy endorphins. And I'm like, we knew that,
Thanks for validating what we've known for thousands of years.
Yep, thanks.
That's right.
That's so true. Wow. Well, as always, I always learn so much from those two amazing humans. Thank you so much. Inevitably, yes, my stomach always hurts after we chat and connect and tell stories and laugh, and my stomach still hurts. So believe me, this gets even more ridiculous in part 2. So you got to stay tuned. So if you need even more of a teaser for part 2, all of you listeners will be treated to the origin story of Code Brown, a great lightning round, and also lots of educational tips for authentic relationality protocols, the importance of sacrificing your ego, but also poop stories. Yes, poop stories. Because what brings people together better than poop? So laughter's medicine, and we got you on these episodes. So see you next week for part 2. Until then, go learn something from the land.